Hello and welcome back to the ESL One offline qualifiers for Cologne. We have a big game ahead of us and I am still readying myself. Never mind the players.
This is insane.
Yeah, I'm Alex Machine Richardson, she's Lauren Pansy Scott, and it's Dignitas up against Kinguin. Lauren, take a deep exhale and ready yourself for the winner's bracket.
It's going to be massive. These are the two teams I think everyone would have picked to go to this point, but the games getting here were close. Teams have shown their hand. They've said the maps they don't want, the maps they like, and there's been so much shared just in this initial event that it's changed almost the whole landscape here.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of every map. The only map we haven't really seen yet is Train, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and Inferno. There you go. Yeah. That's our two. But either way, talking of teams, we should first start with Kinguin. This roster that's starting to really hit their stride. Just picking up a new in-game leader in the form of Dennis, and Dennis is already proving to be guiding this team in the right direction. Oh,
most certainly. The way they've been playing looks pretty competent, and overall it's still not kind of made them a super tactical team, just kind of putting them all on the same page, which I think is important. They don't need to change the style they have, but benefits to being such phenomenal players and kind of trying to tame them down, but he's working with them and clearly fitting in extraordinarily well.
Yeah, and their opponents, Dignitas, as well. These guys have, they had a little bit of a kind of, not a stumble, but more of a kind of light trip up against Overgaming, where we saw them actually go kind of toe-to-toe for a while before finally being able to close that map out, and that was on Dust2 as well. So we've seen Dust2 between both of these teams in the past, in this tournament alone.
Yeah, and just looking at Dignitas, the one that stands out to me was that property game, really, on Cobble, where they had to pull it back in line. Those late rounds they pulled back in. The communication was poor. Pim said that they made errors. It wasn't just their opponent, it was them themselves. And looking at the picks and bans that came through, you can tell that they very much kept that in mind here.
Yeah, I mean, you go into this one, you think Kinguin are going to want to avoid Mirage. What is the first ban? They immediately snatched Mirage away from that one. Cobble as well was what we saw them take away, and that, to me, doesn't surprise us either. Those were the two maps that when we went into this, we thought probably going to see that avoided by Kinguin. Well,
considering when they met at DreamHack, I think it was in the Open, DreamHack Open, these two faced. It was on Mirage, and it was a 16-14 result in favor towards Dignitas, but that was extraordinarily close. That's not something you want coming up at this point to secure your spot in the major.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a while ago. I mean, it wasn't crazy long ago, but I feel like, you know, a week is a lot of time for Kinguin. These guys have just been developing time after, like, every opportunity they get to play against a Class A team, and they just seem to come off better for it.
Yeah, they've been at boot camp, they've been working on it, they've been putting in the hours. It's time for Kinguin to try and take their spot, and Dignitas a shot at redemption after last year's failed attempt. They couldn't make it through to the major before. Now it's their time for that first place.
And they want to do it neat and tidily. Of course, the loser of this one will have another shot at it, but it comes down to this. This is also about pride. These two teams coming in incredibly confident, and I think it might very well be time for the 9th round in a second. Spoke to Pimp before this one. I was like, dude, is it Pimp or is it Pip? Come on, I need to know before I start butchering it anymore. He said 50-50.
He doesn't mind.
Yeah, it's because actually, Pasha can't say Pimp, so he calls him Pip.
Aww,
so it's a little ode to Pasha. Very, very
adorable.
Yeah. But they are going to be readying up, and it is time for us to determine the sides. It's a best of one. It's Dust2 and Dignitas versus Kinguin battling to secure their spot at the major. It would be incredible to see either of these teams here, and it's time to see which side they will be kicking off with.
And we saw the power that Kinguin had on their T side. This is in the earlier game. Their CT side was okay. It was good. It was adequate. However, their T side was powerful. It was to the point, and it had real fire to it. So I'm worried for Dignitas. I think there could be a real danger here. Overall, Dignitas, in my eyes, are the better collective as a team, you know, with tactics.
I see that, yeah.
But as individuals, you can't doubt Kinguin.
Well, you can't doubt them in the 9th round either. They just breeze through that one, and they're going to be having the choice of sides. So, previously, we saw them start on the CT side, but given the choice, they get Tia Makaleli happy with that one, and Kinguin going to be starting on the offensive. This kind of suits their style of play.
The playbook's out, boys. The playbook is out.
It's a very stylish playbook as well.
It looks better than my notes.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, damn. But they're going through it. You know, the thing is, in this group, you'd assume the two teams that you'd think would get to this point will think about each other directly. They'll think about not just anti-strats, but how they want to form their own sort of play around it, how they'll approach the opponent, what they need to keep in mind, how they want to form up, and what's their main focus here. So you can see AZ, such a young player, then Nico as well. All of them looking so focused and just completely listening in.
Yeah, and you know, Nico, you mentioned him. He was a real standout individual in that game on Cobblestone against Property. If he wasn't hitting of the few of those retakes, we would not be seeing Dignitas in this position. Yeah,
and this was one of the stats that I managed to kind of pull up reading through HLTV. They really do struggle to put together a win regardless of map almost, especially during LAN events when Nico doesn't hit
above KDA,
one and above KDA. So when he goes negative, they struggle a little. But you can see what he had, the power that he had towards those later stages.
Yeah, and you talk of power as a team, as a collective as well. They've got a whole lot of power. They've beaten Fnatic over at MLG Aspen, picking up the bronze there. Third, fourth at Gfinity Masters Summer. Of course, losing out to Envious in a narrow affair. And now they're going to be challenging Kinguin over on Dust2. They're ready. I think the playbook discussion has been made. Kinguin are sitting there like, oh, are we ready to go? Has everyone finished with their notebooks? We just had a little chat, having a little sip and readying himself for what can be electric 30 rounds potentially here.
I'm so excited to bring everyone this game because this is going to be such a telling sign of these two. I think these two are really the two teams who are certainly in a class of their own in this group to a degree. Head and shoulders above the rest? Maybe not. Individually, probably. But still, the point is that these two will have targeted each other. They'll known they'll have to play each other at some point. So this is such a pinnacle moment for both of them.
Yeah, and it's all going to start with that pistol round. Dignitas, a team who we have mentioned time and time again, are famed for that strength with the pistol. The stat that we actually used was that it's the second highest overall pistol success rate across Counter-Strike Go. And I mean, there's proof already in the pudding that these guys have been picking them up already.
Yeah, and Pimp had a little bit of a blush when I asked him what happened with the pistols on Cobble. He was like, communication.
No. I didn't pick up the jewellies.
But no, it's 3 players within the Dignitas team who are also within, I believe, the top 10. So it's not just Pimp, renowned for those jewellies. Every single one of them can sort of achieve that sort of brilliance with it, and you see it time and time again.
Yeah, and you're talking of Pimp and pistol rounds. Actually, in general, Pimp has been on the rise. We've been looking at his rating, and it's done nothing but increase over the past 3 months. So, yeah, with one individual hitting a stride, the rest will follow. We've already mentioned Nico needs to perform, as does, of course, Kirby. And MSL as well with his notebook. We haven't seen that too much, so I think Dignitas have knuckled down, and of course they realise that there's a whole lot on the line here, battling for that position at the Major, kicking off on August 22nd. And this is it. This is round 1. It's the pistols. And we're going to be seeing who can start with a bang here on Dust2.
Oh, and look at this. 3 CTs on long, 4 of the T side going straight through. Dennis, Rain, Fox, and Michael Laley all heading through here. But Pimp kicking things off with a bang, already taking down Rain, the only other player from the Kinguin side who's already had a wonderful beginning with those pistols, so making a nice impression, and Screen getting a little taste of it as well.
Yeah, he's just going to get tickled back from short. And it looks like Kinguin not quite sure where they want to take this bomb. I say that, they do look like they're starting to gather forces towards that short site. Now, who's there to receive them? They're actually, Dignitas kind of playing away from the site. They're backing up down long. Whether they're anticipating Kinguin players there, that's a different question as things hit a bit of a standstill. And Kinguin have changed their mind. They're going through mid, and it's only going to be AZ and MSL ready to receive on B.
Let's see what they can do here. AZ does have armor, as does MSL, so they can hold on a fair little bit here. And AZ actually slipping through the doors. MSL's holding the back line. He's trying to stay alive and somehow does for a good bit of time. Everyone else is now there for the CTs. They can retake this.
Well, you say that. Body's starting to drop. AZ now down, and Nico does connect a nice shot, but quick to respond is Fox with the Glock. So, Kirby, and oh my god, if they'd have hit that shot. Nico, desperate to find one through these doors. They're actually stacking up, just playing that Glock train game. And all onto Kirby to find one. Does onto Scream, but not going to be able to get the second, as that's going to be a solid first round from Kinguin. It's split second decision. They were like, let's stack short. As soon as they saw the numbers starting to favor on towards A, they just sprinted through doors with their utility.
And they just outnumbered on that side. Kinguin now, let's look at what they're going to go for here. They know maybe a good idea of how Dignitas like to play these second rounds, what they like to do. And Makalele just connecting straight through those doors as well. Perfect play with the scout. Tagging up AZ as well. Oh, Makalele, are you kidding? Already, what a big impact play. Just cutting down Dig, saying, all right, you know what? Sure, you're only got a couple of pistols next to you, but I'm going to make it look good. And now Nico, 1v5. I just don't see this happening, Alex.
You know, he's got a Desert Eagle. It's called Dust2. I mean, there's something there. I don't know. But yeah, he's going to probably try and catch at least one. And actually, he's walking straight towards the domain of Rain with only 9 points of health. So, I mean, maybe, just maybe, he could find one exit, some sort of consolation prize. The wooden spoon, as it were. And the smoke's just going to be like a big stop sign saying nope. And he's just going to go ahead and push straight through.
And he's holding on for now. Dennis is actually coming around behind him. They've got such a good idea where he is. And good work there taking down Dennis. Does get the P90, so could do some damage. Rain's going to instantly back up. He's so low already. He doesn't want to get rid of his gun. He wants to try and stay alive. And Fox will close it down. And we will see the second round on the board now for Kinguin.
So Kinguin starting neat and tidily thereabouts. And, I mean, Makalele was instrumental with that scout through middle.
Huge.
And that looks like we're going to be seeing just a couple of P250s. Just the one flash then for Pimp. And the CT side are going to be... Did he just hit another one? AZ down again. He's going to be kicking himself as Makalele is on form.
And they might work off the back of this. Fox is already actively peeking. He's looking for the shot. Dennis going to lead the way. P90 to hat. I thought that was Dennis, but it was Fox.
Oh, God.
And the P90 still with 30 bullets, just kind of plowing them down. But in the end, it was, I believe, Dennis and co just kind of taking things over. So last man alive was Pimp, and not for long, as Makalele does what he does best, just having a good time. And already, Kinguin keeping it chill. But this is the round. This is where it starts to count. The gun round coming in for Team Dignitas. Nico not having really all that much for armor, so he's going to be skipping that one. Glass cannon coming up here. And on the other side, Makalele still with that scout. P90 with Dennis. This is dangerous.
Yeah, so Nico's going to be taking that AWP down long. He's going to be babysat by Kierby. It looks like Kinguin have got other plans. This is an all-out offensive on its way. They just walk in, and they're going to be picking up two swift frags. Scream just scalping AZ, and now it's going to be the retake potentially. I think the CTs are going to call off and say, Jesus, that was not what we expected. Let's wait it out.
Kinguin just ravished Dignitas. They're like, oh, you know, that's really cool that you went for a buy in this round and you scraped everything you had together, but we're just going to walk in and take it all away.
That's something you can do with aimers, though. That's what you can do when you have individuals like Kinguin has, is you can just rely on walking into a site, a little bit supported by nades, and pick up frags. Big stuff there from Kinguin, and Nico's just going to catch Rain on the exit.
Yeah, and Kinguin are chasing this as well. They're going for this one. They want those guns away, and they're going to do it. Scream finding Pimp there as Nico cowers away towards Pit as Kierby going to try and hold those double doors on long and just keep the thin thread of Dignitas held together. And it will end in that 2v2. No one going to take the rest of those guns away, but Kinguin making such an impact on that first gun round.
It just feels terrifying. Like, whenever you jump to Dignitas' perspective, you have to worry, you have to panic, because there's just this impending doom feel as they close in on you when you try and clutch hold of your weapons. Makalele drops the scout for the AWP and is going to be trying to do the same thing in a similar fashion, but Kinguin, they look like they're setting their sights on B for a second time in a row. Maybe
feeling that MSL and AZ don't have what it takes to hold on to this, but so much confidence here, and they're going to see the peak of the arm here. Rain actually completely oblivious, and MSL will pick up the kill, but now forced into the action, sprays down wildly, but Scream comes out, taking down Dennis as well, just en route, and B is theirs once again. This is a Kinguin castle, and no one's getting near it.
For sure. Then again, Kierby is coming from the backside. Nico and Pimp readying themselves as well. I don't think Dignitas are going to let this one slip away. Then again, Scream on B. No matter what side it is, he's pretty damn prominent, and Makalele is well aware of Kierby's positioning as well. Evades the flash nicely. He's actually done more harm than good, as it's going to be an easy one for Makalele. And Pimp and Nico, they make the call, and they're backing away once again. Dignitas, no strangers in this game to trying to keep those weapons safe.
This seems like a little bit of a trend so far. 4-0, soon to be more. I don't know. If I was Dignitas, you know, when you say, all right, guys, we need to switch up a bit here. B's just not working out. We did it on our first buy round. Okay, that was a little shoddy. Maybe didn't have everything we needed. And actually, a pause coming in, not for Dig, this is from Kinguin, so maybe just having a couple of issues.
Okay.
Yeah, so sound issues, I believe. They're hoping to get those fixed.
Well, Makalele speaks sign language as well.
He does. He's a talented man. Not only does he high-five himself, but he also...
Lets everybody know what the problem is. So we're going to be getting his sound
chair height. It's all very obvious when there's a problem.
But it's going to be intriguing to see what Dignitas can do with this timeout, because this is almost a free one for the Dignitas boys.
Yeah. So let's take stock of what we've seen so far and kind of review what happened. So pistol-wise, it was the pressure towards long and then adapt towards short. Don't fancy that. Break into B. Now, there's so many rounds that have been these B plants, so many times, and it's not like they're exploiting it necessarily. They're just so confident going in there.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what they have to watch out for, what Dignitas have to be careful of, is this potential where they start getting snappy at each other. Like, when MSL and AZ are constantly losing a site, they need to be careful that they don't see that site slipping away and think, okay, you guys need to step up. There is more to it than that, and that's something they have to be cautious of.
Well, this was the theory, you know. It was brought up, I think, actually a dream hack by Richard Lewis, if I'm not mistaken, was because I think he knew of Pimp and a couple of these other guys a long time ago. And when they were a lot younger, they're still a fairly young team.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that little bit of attitude there, and especially I think in the Copenhagen Wolves, I may be wrong there, don't quote me, but I think it was. There was a little bit of not immaturity, but they were young players, passionate players, and sometimes the emotion really did work against them. But everyone's saying, you know, this Dignitas team has matured. Pimp is really starting to step up as a player, and just overall, you know, just really level-headed now, calming himself down, passionate as ever, but less of the negative side, it seems. But, you know, that's all what you hear from second hand, so you never actually know, but hopefully they can keep things together here, because it's been a very rude awakening.
Yeah, Kinguin seems to really be on top form, and that's going to be, I mean, that's a terrifying thing. If the words coming out of my mouth, any team should be scared of an on-form Kinguin playing at their best. And I mean, they have just been on the rise since their formation not too long ago. Starting, of course, with 310, things have changed. We see Dennis now in the ranks, and I mean, these guys have experienced so many changes. You know, losing their in-game leader. As in the form of their coach, and Dennis kind of filling that void. Yeah,
I love the way there's now 4 IT guys like, Michael Ailey, did you just mute that? I'm like, what have you done? The 4 IT guys stand there like, what is wrong here?
What are you doing?
But I assume the issues will be resolved.
I saw him say, I can hear voices in my head. I think the IT guys are going, are you going crazy, Michael Ailey?
Are you okay?
Yeah, okay. Put him in a straitjacket.
We'll find out. Yeah, this so far is looking pretty decent for Kinguin. Confidence aplenty, not looking worried at all, if I'm honest. But then again, this is early days for Dignitas, but it's a best of one. It's Dust2, things can spiral.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, this much momentum on the T side is going to put Kinguin in a great stead.
Yeah, bearing in mind, Michael Ailey right now is on 6-1, Fox 4-0, Scream 6-2, Rain and Dennis as well, a little lower, but they've been the ones who've generally been going, you know, first into B. We saw it was
P90.
Rain there, yeah. Dennis on the P90, always pushing through, catching out MSL, and MSL's on 1-5 at the moment. AZ also playing B for Dignitas 0-5, so they're really focusing those two down almost. It's definitely an issue.
Yeah, but then that's the question: is you ask, do they mix things up? Do you change who's going over towards B, or do you say let's not change anything and let's see what Kinguin bring first? Because I mean, this is a terrifying ordeal.
It's the mind game,
yeah, it's all mind games.
Or it's that backward spiral, because you think, okay, if we adapt, what if they've then changed it because they expect us to?
Yeah, exactly.
But then again, it was something that Anders brings up quite often is when people are like, oh, we don't know what to do anymore. We've tried everything, and actually, you haven't tried too much. You know, you haven't tried to, you know, flip it up, try and switch things around, because you're so focused on what you're doing. It's sometimes hard to see the bigger picture. And well, Dignitas at the moment certainly have the blinkers on, but we'll have to see if they can dig themselves out of this hole. Michael Ailey's smiling, so clearly things are good now.
Yeah, I think we are ready to jump into the game. We saw Scream as well, saying that we are almost ready to kick this one off. But I mean, an extended pause for Dignitas. Let's see if that puts them in better stead as we do go forward. Michael Ailey stopped hearing the voices in his head, which is always good.
It's good.
It's always good. And, you know, talk of Michael Ailey, this Nico versus Michael Ailey show hasn't really taken off just yet. They've been very kind of avoiding of each other. Michael Ailey less so, as he is going back into game and back to double doors. Can he find the connection? He does again into the calf of MSL through the doors. And they're playing at a disadvantage almost every round because of Michael Ailey through mid.
Be it a scout, be it an AWP, it doesn't seem to matter. Michael Ailey will just find a shot there, whether it's a tag or not as well. It just seems that he's so confident. But let's have a look at how Kinguin are playing out this round, because they know that Dignitas are probably going to force this one up, find a little bit of weaponry here and there. Okay, sure, there's a couple of Famases, but they're taking control over the map. You've got Scream and Rain working up towards short, Michael Ailey and Dennis towards those B tunnels, and Fox kind of holding back at long, playing from the box, nothing too crazy there. But we've seen Kinguin are so good at kind of adaptive play, so they'll get a pick here, work off the back, and just kind of build themselves around it. We'll have to see if anyone's going to be willing to peek, because to be fair, Dignitas are already playing very passive. You've got Nico sitting up by the cars, you can just about see him, and B is a different picture. But Kinguin have consistently put Molotovs into that corner where MSL is sitting. And
this is such a stark contrast to the previous two rounds on towards B. But it's the same end, and looks like Michael Ailey's going to find another connection onto MSL. Just finishes the job that he started earlier. As now AZ trying to flash them and trying to slow them down, but he's playing from the outside of the site. He has been scared out of the site, and it's not going to do any difference, as once again, rinse and repeat. Two bodies put into the ground. It's MSL and AZ, and immediately they snap onto save.
They've got to. I'm so
impressed is what you need to say about Kinguin.
It really is. It is just sheerly very impressive what Kinguin are doing at the moment. It's not ingenious. It's not something brand new. It's not tactically phenomenal, but it's working time and time again. Okay, for the last 2 or 3 rounds, every time they've been able to afford it. I'll come back to that in a second because Pimp, he's been spotted and he's been found. Scream picks him up.
Now, this is another part of the mind game. We talked about it before. Nico and KRB, are basically relentlessly trying to hold on to these weapons. On top of losing the round, they're sitting there then quaking in their boots, hoping to even be able to keep the weapon into the next round. It's insanity, and it works in Kinguin's favor again and again, keeping that kind of impending doom feel present on the shoulders of Dignitas.
Okay, so this time the CT side, excluding head armor, which isn't the biggest loss in the world, will actually have a bit of utility to work with. Some smoke, some flashes, a couple of mollies, but this is the difference. They've switched it up again.
And Nico, he tries to hold long as much as he can. The one time Kinguin turn up, Fox does too. Picks up the early frag, and looks like Kinguin are setting their sights on long off the back of that pick. Then again, I say that, they have been quite prone to switching things up. They will stack this 4-player long and then change their mind. Scream is the one in lowers. He's the only one away from long. And if he finds anything on a kind of a lurking MSL, I wouldn't be surprised if they hit the rewind button. But still, here it comes. And KRB is ready.
Let's hope so. He's got a nice little spot through the smoke there, but it has to retract back in. He gets tagged up, down to 22 HP. AZ laying in wait, gets put to bed by Rain. And this is again the Kinguin show. They've completely locked off the site. They've taken down the one-man threat that was there, laying in wait, which was AZ, but finally they get one back. That's MSL finding Fox, but there's still 4 players standing, and Scream starting to hunt.
Yeah, and he's going to be a really successful hunter at this point. You're going to add one head to his wall. It's going to be KRB's. And now Pip probably going to meet a similar fate if Scream does find his head. Not looking to be easy though. Just 9 points of health now, and Scream just needs to find the one bullet. 44 points of health as Pimp does descend into lowers, and he's going to be chased down by Rain to put 8 on the board for Kinguin. Nope, I'm losing the track of the rounds. It's going to be 7. Excuse me.
Numbers are hard, and there's a lot of frustration you can see on Pimp's face there. He looks a little annoyed at how this is going down. Excuse me, you can't blame him. So, coming to this one, excuse me, while I die quietly. Not so quietly, should I say. Let's see if they can keep it together. Once again, MSL tagged up pretty low, down to 8 HP. I'd love someone to just, who's watched this game and taken note, tell me how many times anyone's made it to be unscathed.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly a horrible ordeal for MSL and AZ. And when they do get their unscathed, Kinguin are already in the site and they have to play retake. It's a real dreadful scenario that they've currently found themselves in. And I mean, the fact that, the Kinguin chose to start on T's side suggested they had a trick up their sleeve. And I mean, they've had 3 or 4 tricks up their sleeve so far on this T side. Looks like they're going to be going for the hit onto B. But then again, it's looking like that time after time. I wouldn't be surprised if actually Fox is quite crucial here. He has a smoke and a molly. He could probably fake it out a little bit if he wanted to. In the meantime, MSL readies himself, trying to do as much as he can with just the 8 points of health he's been given. And usually, the catalyst for this push is Makalele with the AWP. Let's see, as the smoke clears, if he can find another.
And the irony being, last time around, AZ was the outstanding performer, and there we go, turns up again, gets 2 at least. But still, MSL having to hold on with just 8 HP. Makalele goes through Rain and still gets a kill. No one can stop him, not even his own teammates. But now, 2v3, Dig have finally a shot here. 25 seconds. The T-side shouldn't be able to get this round.
Well, they shouldn't, but that molly's going to lock him out. Then again, he pushes straight through it, through the fire and flames. He finds one. Not going to get the second, though, and Makalele has his job cut out for him. He's picked up 2 already. This could be a third. No, narrowly misses that one as he tries to go for a second peek. Not going to happen as he gets closed in on Nico. And this should be the end. He connects the no-scope. That took far too long, and Dignitas are going to be scratching their heads, wondering why it took that long. But finally, 8 rounds in, Dignitas secure the first.
And I can imagine that could have been almost the tilting point then for Pimp. He sacrificed himself to pick up one. It was almost inevitable he was going to die then, whether it be to the molly or one of the other players. But he got the 1-for-1 exchange, which was perfect for him. It allowed the side to be a viable option. If they dropped that, I think he would have not tilted, but it would have just weighed so heavily on him. Anyway, 1-7 now. Well, they make it across without actually taking damage. That's a little something new.
It's a first time for everything, Lauren.
Certainly is. And now Kinguin once again starting out as they seem to go on. Just confidence, but Rain this time actually taking some early damage. That's a good little bit of a difference there.
Yeah, for sure. And that's actually kind of the only difference we're going to be seeing is Kinguin the ones taking the early damage. That does not happen as often as it should. especially with Dignitas on that defensive side. Makaleli, the master of opening onto B, looks like he's going to try and do the same this time on towards A. There's Kinguin trying to fake it out through mid, does get the smoke on towards CT as they are still starting to group towards short. Something that we see an awful lot of from other teams, but Kinguin have really not really pushed the short side too often. Looks like Nico's ready for it this time. He hasn't had really too much pressure on long, and he's going to be ready waiting once the flashes do subside. But he's still going to be caught out. Flash after flash, and he's really, really desperately trying to find a pick. It doesn't going to happen, though. That doesn't make any sense, but Dennis finds one. And it looks like Pimp is going to have to do everything. He does find one, but that is not going to be enough. As Kirby does get the tag. No frag, though, and MSL and AZ have got to clean this site up. It's not going to happen, and AZ, just a FAMAS and 23 points of health, realizes that Kinguin have gone and got an 8th.
Kinguin are playing out of their mind. And the thing is that Dig have been pushed back so passively, as Fox will find the last. Dig are playing so far back. You had Pimp playing up in towards Goose. You had Nico playing on the cars. And the fact is that when you're pushed that far back, it kind of comes down to the Angels that, of course, Kinguin are probably going to win these.
Yeah, that's the point I wanted to make, is that Nico was holding the right angle. He was doing everything right. He was evading as many flashes as he could. And Makaleli just get me a little excited.
Nervous.
Deep breaths.
Excited and nervous. I don't know what that says about us.
Either way, I got distracted by Makaleli. I'm not even going to bother coming back to that point, as Scream looks like he could potentially mop up here on long. In fact, his teammate's going to do it for him. Fox just snatches a double. Had in those stats nicely. It's all on AZ once again. He's no stranger. This was just the round prior, and he's going to be hunted down. To be fair, they are quite low. He gets one. That's Makaleli. Oh, that's a second. He could find a third. He picks up an AWP, and Rain realizing this should not happen. It does. AZ picks up 3, and now Fox and Scream remaining. Don't you dare peek him! Oh, AZ, you animal! He's picked up 4, and now Fox standing with all of his utility remaining in a potential ace. Into pushing on. Oh my god, he could hit the shot. He showed himself. Fox taking so many risks. That nade could catch him. It doesn't. And now AZ just ready to find the head of Fox. He tries to find the corner. I don't think it's going to happen. He does evade the spray, though. Time is of the essence.
God.
And Fox needs to be careful. And I can take a deep breath as Fox does secure it. But that could not have been closer. With just a P250, he destroys 4.
Monstrous round from him, but doesn't look like he's all impressed with it.
Face. That's truly a Scandinavian. Nearly killed 4 with just a pistol. All right, what's next?
Then again, when you're losing 9-1,
true, it
doesn't feel all that nice. And again, Makaleli just being like, hey, remember what I do? I'm going to do it twice. I'm not going to just do it to MSL, I'm going to do it to Pimp as well. And I'm going to open up the side for you. Just let Dennis walk in, take a little bit of a wander towards that B side, and just taking everything the Dignitas have, not allowing them a second to breathe. And Kinguin are just smothering the Dignitas side.
Yeah, and Kirby and Nico make it just Kirby are going to be trying to make a dent. They do take Rain down, and that's one rifle slipped away, but the economy of Kinguin could not be any more solid. We've got 3 nearing on 1,600. Like, they have, 16,000. They have literally... Yeah, I think they're just going to start throwing weapons down for the ground just to make sure the ground's happy, you know, making sure he's happy. And he's going to start fragging as well.
Oh, here we go. Does it... How does he do this? Makaleli. Average damage per round. If you take a look at that, it's unreal. Just because of the amount of damage he's causing throughout those doors, the amount of kills he's getting, he's just playing like a beast. And Nico's actually gone for a slightly more aggressive play here. And Dennis is in those lower B tunnels, joined by, I think, Scream. So Nico's got to be a little cautious here.
I like this decision from Nico, though, because short has been a real kind of linchpin for some of these pushes from Kinguin. This time, he's not going to let them have it.
Yeah. Already.
There's 4 of them pushing him, though, and he's backed away. He's given them short. I think he realized that he was only going to take one with him. And there's no one to hold it. I feel like...
he's been pulled to long for Kirby. He's trying to help him out here. Kirby's just pinned in as the ground gets scorched, but Nico having to turn his attention back towards the cross. We know these guys like to bait it out. They'll smoke it up themselves, drop down towards CT if needed. I'm not sure if they're going to go ahead and do it now. But let's see if they actually do the same sort of thing twice. Already one smoke in place. Here comes a drop out of Rain. Nico misses the first, looks for the follow-up. Flashed up, he can't see a thing. Rain's going to be there finding Nico. And it's once again Kinguin just getting all over this side. Then just absolutely manhandling it. They don't care. There's no respect at all here for Dignitas. Pimp doing some lovely individual work. Finally, Kirby just turns up from long. And there's Pimp doing the damage. Coming in off that ramp. Bomb's now loose. And it's just Makaleli. And Makaleli gets put down by Pimp.
Dignitas fragging. That is what we haven't seen too much of. And that Here's his average damage per round. You can see it just flourishing. And over 120, that wasn't even his peak. And he's really has been thriving through that double doors. And it's so predictable, and yet Nico refuses to challenge it. We haven't seen him attempt it once, and I mean, there is a smoke thrown out from Dignitas themselves to kind of aid that cross. You can see the look at the comparison. That is insanity. One AWP to another. And we, you know, at the start of this, we said Fox and Makaleli mix it up. Makaleli's it's been the Makaleli show, and you're starting to see why.
Yeah, and Nico, of course, he's on the CT side, so he's a little more passive towards it. He doesn't need to be the aggressor like it seems Makaleli enjoys playing towards. But still, it's day and night between those two.
Yeah, and you can see that scoreboard. Kirby and Pimp, you monster, do manage to almost...
It really catches you, doesn't it?
It does, because I say it as I see it.
You're a simple man.
I do, and I mean, I'm looking at KJB, and I'm like, come on, Kirby. It's a conscious thought every single time. Yeah, you know, I have to appreciate the people that can look at like a letter and a number and call it as a player. I've had that a couple of times.
Yeah?
Yeah. Whereas like someone's got their name as like D31 and the name's like Desiree. I'm just making names up.
You're really struggling here, aren't you?
Desiree is like an individual.
Do you want a shovel?
I'm just going to keep digging this hole while Rain continues to disconnect and reconnect.
He was having a good time.
I mean, understandably, Kinguin won the perfect
Rain was like, I haven't hit a 3K and finished it off with just one bullet, so maybe there's something wrong. I need a second.
Yeah.
But so they're just restarting the PC. It won't take too long. But let's also talk about Dignitas here, because this is a very different dig to what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, for certain. We've seen them really pick up incredible results. And they were, if not the favourite, coming into this one alongside Kinguin. Currently being made to look a little weaker than we would have anticipated. I mean, their result against Property suggested they were on form. Property, a strong team, and I think that was a proving ground for Property as well, where we saw that end 16-14 in favour of Dignitas. Things could have changed, that's for certain. But the main point that needs to be made, the main thing that needs to be said is that Dignitas aren't out of this one. 10 rounds on the T side, but not down and out of this yet. And stranger comebacks have happened. Let's just quickly remind everyone at home that the winner of this one will be at the major.
That's the big point, isn't it? This is the massive factor here, and that's where you can go. If you want to get it, a little bit of piece of the action yourself, there are still tickets available. Come over to Cologne and see what we have in store for you. I can't tell you enough how incredible, one, the games are going to be. The venue is just insane. It's going to be just brilliant. But still, I think the fact is that Dignitas, to me at the moment, just... I guess I thought those communication issues that they had in the previous game would have been resolved. I thought it was maybe a little bit of a blip, a little bit of just an issue on the way, a little bit of a bump in the road. But it seems that maybe that's trickled into this game. And when Kinguin are playing the way they do, you've got to feel it's frustrating as hell to these guys, because you're not two best players, but you're MSL and AZ, your duo, right? If you look at, let's say, Mirage, the way they play together on their T side and mid, it's not completely off the back of each other, but they almost play utility in a way. It's quite weird seeing AZ do that rather than just MSL, but very much in tow. And where they're being completely overrun and just extinguished on that B site, it's just unnerving almost to watch what Kinguin can achieve when they have that goal in mind.
It's good to see smiles on the faces of Dignitas. That's something I'd be worried about. These are teams that, or excuse me, individuals that we've highlighted beforehand that, they are relatively young and are relatively prone to I don't want to say use the tilt word because it's not happening anymore, but previously tilting and kind of losing that attitude, the necessary attitude to win a game, was prominent. This, however, is the new Dignitas. They've grown up, they've started to really realise that they have potential, and I mean there's no doubt about that whatsoever. You're never going to doubt Dignitas into a game, but when you do look at that 2-10 scoreline, you can understand why tensions may be rising.
Well, let's just once again throw our minds back to when these two met before. It's not been all that long ago, and just a dream hack. It's the fact that they got so close to each other. You couldn't separate them. 16-14 when they last met. On Mirage, sure, different map. And we know how good Kinguin are on their Dust2 T side. But you take it out of that context and you look at it as it is now, it looks like a very different picture. Two very different teams.
Yeah, and you can see Kinguin saying hello to the viewers. They're saying, hello, viewers. Sorry about Rain. He's going to be back in the server as soon as
I like the way they're
possible.
apologizing for like the guy who pulls off the crazy 3K and stuff like that. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, he has already hit some nutty shots in the previous game.
Like, he's a beast, let's be honest.
Well, I mean, they all are. When we were going through the roster, you're sitting there like, you kind of feel a bit foolish. You're like, Scream, insane headshot rate. Fox, pretty damn insane.
Makalele hitting some ridiculous average damage per round with the Norp is...
Yeah, and it was that big question mark surrounding them when they first formed was, you know, can they do it as a unit? Can they do it as an actual team and not be this very puggy, you know, they could probably pick up a couple of rounds or like good rounds against good teams, but could it really be a team? And they're starting to prove that upon the leadership of Dennis, they are monsters.
And when I was talking to Pimp just after their previous game, I was discussing the map pool coming into actually this matchup. He said that they actually have a fairly similar map pool that they feel comfortable on, and I'm a little shocked that it came to Dust2. I didn't think Dig would allow that to go into the hands of Kinguin. Sure, they didn't want to play a couple of maps out there, but Dust2 is the one that you can always theorize is going to be a good map for Kinguin. Their CT side may not be the best in the world. It may not change the game, but their T side can depend on those individuals just to win the Angels. And that's the scary part, is when you kind of really take into account what they've been able to achieve already. A 10-2 scoreline against Dignitas, terrifying.
Yeah, and the problem has been resolved. Rain is back in his seat, and we're going to be bringing you the action once again. Dignitas have a lot of time to reflect on where they're taking these remaining 3 rounds. And, I mean, they need them. I mean, 10-5, it's a necessity at this point. It truly is.
It really is. Now, I think Dignitas can be fine on the T side. I don't think Kinguin yet. We've seen their true potential or strength on their CT side. The last time we saw them, it wasn't the best in the world. It was fine. I think that's the best way. It was absolutely fine. But it paled in comparison to what they're able to achieve on their T side itself. But still, Rain is back in the server, so it's not too much of a problem. He'll be joining us again. And we are now back to 5 on both sides, and we'll be starting up very, very soon. So, with, I think Rain is back in the server. They're just going to be sorting him out with his buy. And it's time for us to unpause. I think it's let's go, go, go from Nico. And Dignitas are ready to go. I think, oh, hang on. Oh, there was a thumbs up.
I saw a thumbs up, I did.
Oh, maybe need to wait on the admins.
But anyway, if you have just joined us, this is the ESL One European Offline Qualifiers for the Major in Cologne. That kicks off in August on the 22nd and 23rd. And these teams are battling through the winner's bracket. So the loser doesn't go home, has another shot at it, and it is back into the action. Best of 1 on Dust2. Kinguin 10-2 up. And Makalele, for the first time in a while, hasn't done any damage through mid at the start. And Nico looking to do something different. But I always worry when there's Scream and Dennis in those lower B tunnels. If he doesn't hit this first shot, I feel that Scream will. And there's that flash. Here comes the peak. Nico is just cowering away, tail between the legs. Does make it out fairly unscathed, 87 HP, but better than having your head taken off by Scream. So this time, actually, looking at the way Dignitas is set up, a little closer towards mid. You've got AZ and Pimp playing a little closer towards each other. Pimp before was playing Goose a little further back. Let's see if this one maybe changes things up for them. Yeah, and Kinguin just seemed excellent when it comes to team play as well. That flash onto Nico was, I mean, just perfectly timed with Scream's entrance into lower B. They've got things under wraps, and talking of flashes, there's a whole lot more getting thrown towards short. But that's the thing. That's not in the point of Nico. He was actually able to make them have to commit so much of their utility towards it to clear it out now. Those mollies going in, a couple of flashes, a couple of nades, and look at this, actually Pimp and AZ in the perfect position for once. This could be a big changer here. AZ, for the first time in a while, may actually have a chance to have the drop on Kinguin. Well. This is going to be 1. It should be 2, but it isn't. Rain swishes around and finds the frag, and now AZ evades that flash. Excuse me, it was MSL who just does the damage, but not enough, as Rain just kind of getting on the pain train. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. And it's 4 versus 3. Lauren hates me, and Kierby does pick up one onto Makalele as it's a 3v3. And Rain, 19 points of health. Could he find a third here?
And that B-take was really on the money. Now, this is a 3v3. This could actually work out for maybe the CT side if they get a chance. Pimp was so close to doing some sort of impact play, but we know how good Scream is in that position. He plays B on the CT side. He doesn't need any more help in that sort of spot. And Kinguin, don't let the ball drop. They're straight back into this.
They are struggling for answers at this point. Dignitas, they're cobbling together anything they can. Nico grabs a scout of FAMAS for MSL, and it looks like Pimp is going to be stuck with just the 5-7. Nades limited as well. 2 players without any whatsoever, and oh my god, he's done it again. Makalele finds Nico, and MSL took a tag as well. He's done so much damage with just 1 click of his mouse. And Kinguin, off the back of that, no, they're not rotating, and Dignitas fell for it. They thought, okay, he's got to pick up B, they're going towards B. Kinguin, there's an all-out offensive towards A, taking shape.
This is unbelievable play. Kiebi finally does make a bit of an appearance, though, but he's been kind of left out of the entire picture for the vast majority. He's been playing retake for the last God knows how many rounds. MSL, Pimp, and Kiebi up against 4, so don't even have the equal match into this, and Smoke's still in play, so much there. This has become a real dire situation for Dignitas. They needed at least a bit of a dent into this round, but they seem to achieve so little, and already Dennis starting to go looking. Yeah, and this happens time and time again, whereby the Dignitas side are forced to fend for their lives. Never mind the round, they just have to try and keep the weapons. And just rinse and repeat for Kinguin. They kind of play economical, send Scream the aim up to try and do what Scream does best. Dignitas hold the line, and it looks like Pimp is going to be able to find just the 1 before going down. They snatch the weapons away, and it's just MSL who gets away with his body armor and a FAMAS. Now, Pimp's play has been admirable. You know, I feel so bad because Kiebi as well, 10 to 10, they're okay, but no one is excelling, and you can see the shake of the head. You can see it, how frustrated these guys are, and we got the Orbs boys, and there we go, it's Scream taking down AZ, and that just puts a big smile in my face. And Dignitas are going to be so frustrated. Yeah, they're actually going to stick with 2 as well. It's going to be Fox and Makalele who keep them, no surprises there, as Nico does chime in with 1 when the scout Fox just shows up onto Kiebi, saying, hope you haven't forgotten about me. Now Pimp and Nico with just scouts to find 4 members of Kinguin. This is looking like 13-2. This is looking like Kinguin the kingpin, as they are going to try and exert dominance over Dust2. And it looks like it's all onto Pimp to just hopefully show something for Dignitas in this last round. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to find much. Dennis ensures the lack of survival, and it's going to be 13-2 then on the half. Kinguin, everything rides on this pistol round now. They're a team who can do it. And you can see it on Pimp's face. So much frustration there. So much anger towards how that round played out. But Makalele just chilling now, having a nice little chat, you know? He's having a great time. And why not? When you're 13-2 up over Dignitas on the half, going into the game that decides whether you go to the major or not. Yeah, there's probably sing-songs about Cologne coming up now. These guys, let's see what Dignitas can do. It's all in their hands now. They have to turn up. They need this round. They need to make the impact, and Makalele is going on the hunt. Yeah, fortunately he does get caught off. They're not going to let him, and Kiebi shuts the door on him. But he's going through it as well. AZ does mop him down. It looks like it's going to be a slaughter. Dignitas reminding Kinguin that they have some bite to their bark. And now Rain desperately trying to find someone's head. It's not going to happen. It's a clean round, a perfect round, and Pimp and AZ, no surprise, pick up 2 apiece. That's what they needed. But this has to be flawless, relentless play from Dignitas now. They can't let it slip. And the scary thing is, though, what if Kinguin force a couple of rounds? And funny enough, the CZ's Dignitas are going to have to deal with the CZ on Scream, the Deagle on Makalele, got a 5-7 P250, and a Deagle again on Dennis. There's so much power already with Team Kinguin here. Yeah, this is going to be very important. Oh, and Rain has just kind of got his Nikes on, charging up towards mid. Isn't quite going to have the element of surprise he was hoping for. It's Kiebi, a little too smart for his trickery, and Rain just backs it up. And looks like Dennis isn't going to be able to find the connection. I tell a lie, he finds 2 into MSL. And Kinguin, they have just smothered the A site, hoping that the T side are going to make their way. And actually, to be fair, the bomb in the hands of Nico is going that way too. And the thing I really liked about that, Makalele was backing Rain up. He was very close at holding towards those lower B tunnels, making sure Rain could push up and fall back when required. But this is a very kind of centralized hold from Kinguin here towards A. They're keeping close. They want to put these Deagles, these pistols to good work, and they're trying to stay unscathed as much as possible, not peek too long, not stay out too long, and you feel one of these shots is going to hit sooner or later. MSL is low, but Makalele not landing a thing in the end, as Dennis now with the same struggle towards short. And This time, it's just not being able to be connected. The dots are not going to be put together. And Fox and Scream, the last two alive.
Yeah, and they're just going to be trying to keep something in this round. Scream does find Kirby. Does he want to keep that body armor safe, or does he want to just kind of snatch away a weapon or two? Looks like the answer is going to be provided by Nico, as he does put the one into the brain of Scream with the scout. And so just Fox and his full armor and a 5-7 that he's going to be hopefully preserving into this one. Are they going to go Kinguin style, and go hunting? I don't think they choose to do so. And instead, they're just going to be so damn happy to take the round and take it cleanly.
But this is the thing. The mentality that every single interview after every single game, if there's ever a comeback, is how did you do it? What was your mentality? And, round by round, all this stuff we get told. But I remember speaking to Natu about this, and he was like, the thing is, round by round theory works perfectly until you have to factor in the element of the human nature. People make errors. Yeah. Someone misses a shot, the smoke goes wrong, and that could be it. There's no room to breathe. Now, 13-4. There's a little room to work with. A 4-man stack on long for the CT side coming out. Maybe just trying to get a gun away, and they might just achieve it.
And Kirby's going to be reporting back there's not much long. Little does he know, there's a stack of all-stars over towards the long side of the map. This could go horribly wrong if intel gathering goes amiss. Pimp is the one towards B, and if he could, actually gather a little bit more off the back of Rain, he would know that B is a little naked. The 4 Ts, though, in mid are probably considering something through that middle, as it has gone pretty quiet so far. Nades are going to be thrown out. Looks like they're going to go for a push. The pop flash comes through, and as does the terrorist side. 3 of them charging up towards B. This is the correct call from Dignitas, and Rain realizing just a USP isn't going to be able to make a dent. And Dignitas, they're going for the bomb down, and again, with the 5-man still standing.
They need to stay standing as well. They really can't afford to even lose guns at this point. Nico maybe could go for a little something. He's got the scout, but still not what you want here. And Kinguin are kind of set up to try and catch a few. Fox already sitting at the top of mid. Dennis very close to those doors. But the T side being smart, backing away to the places they feel safe towards. And Nico hanging around to make sure no one's going near that bomb.
There is such a difference already between the two sides on their T side. We saw what Dignitas are offering already, and it's much more kind of theoretical Counter-Strike. They know how they want to push this, but they know how much intel they want to gather. Instead, it felt like Kinguin were just like, let's hit B, and they just charge. They have the individuals that are capable of that. And as we do see another man get caught by the bomb. But 5-13 then. That's going to be 2 in a row for Dignitas, and it's going to be, 3 in a row, as it's time for us to go into the first real buy for Kinguin.
Yeah, gun round coming in now. I keep sighing because I'm so nervous for Dignitas because it's such a task at their hands. But Nico needs to do... Makalele would have been just kind of smiling, knowing, you didn't hit that, but here we go. Dignitas taking a leaf out of the Kinguin book, going straight towards this B side. Fox and Scream might just have a great time, and Scream picks up 3. KGB, MSL, and AZ get swept aside, but Pimp, finally the man to make a stand, gets that hand strong and ready, and now Nico and Pimp have to put the pieces together.
This is no easy task. It's basically Nico with an extra 4 health now, as Pimp has got to try and do something with the nades remaining. He does destroy them out, doesn't want to kind of lose them in the fray. Considering trying to get that bomb down, that would be a risk. They know the Kinguin are just on the outskirts of this site.
God,
that nade doesn't make too much of an impact. That would have been a great shot. Nico seems slow. Really not hitting the shots you would expect, especially after the flicks he was hitting on property. And Pimp, that's not how you plant, mate. That's not how you do it.
I don't think he wants to.
I'm joking. Pimp is considering it. He wants to try and draw a Kinguin member out, and he's going to do so by actually getting that bomb down. Nico not making it easy for himself. He's going to get caught out by Kinguin. That's a big shot. He needs to find 2 more, though, if he wants a chance at this round. Dennis finds his head, and that's going to be a defuse, and 14 for Kinguin. The first time they put weapons in their hands on the CT side, and they secure it.
Massive round for Kinguin on the retake there. Rain and Dennis to close it down at the very end, but Scream... It blows my mind you want to charge in against Scream. Any other player, sure, maybe challenge him out, maybe. But Scream? Don't run at that guy. I remember casting him back in the day, and I think it was on Inferno of all things, and people just lined up for him. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? It blows my mind, but let's get our minds back into this, because Makalele might be challenged on long with Rain, but no, Pimp and Kirby going to slow it down. And I'm wondering if Kinguin feel confident enough again to do what they did before with those aggressive B push-ups. They like to go walkabouts there. and wait and see if they feel maybe a touch of that now.
And that is the beauty of this 14-round scoreline so early into the second half, is it enables them to take risky plays. It enables them to surprise Dignitas with something that you wouldn't normally see. And that's exactly what they're doing.
They're going 8.
He knows Fox and Scream doing what they do best, rotating around. Scream finds the head of Pimp. That's huge, as this presence on B has managed to find one all the way in T-spawn. And Kinguin backing away off the back of that one. The problem is Dignitas know exactly where Kinguin are. They have a real idea of how that B is structured, but they can't break through Scream. Scream doing that scouting just on towards that hole in the wall. Isn't going to be able to find it as he darts away. And Dignitas struggling for options. Makalele makes it more difficult as Nico goes down. And it's certain that Makalele is making a big case for MVP in this match.
One by one, Dignitas are peaking, and one by one they're falling. AZ and MSL going to try and pull the last bit of hope together towards B, possibly. See if they can challenge down Scream. He turns the flash, he goes to the peak, he finds MSL. Doesn't take him down that time. Fox gets picked up, and finally Digger back in control. That's what they needed there. And please don't report him right now. He's having a good game, but, you know, keep it chill, guys. And 3v3, bomb plant. You know Kinguin are going to go for that retake.
Yeah, for sure. Dignitas trained on the 2 entrance points. There's another going to come from tunnels just yet then. Makalele, narrow miss. As he's still to set something up, Dennis has finally got himself into uppers, and he's hopefully going to try and find Kirby. That's a big one, as Dignitas taking steps, but Rain's going to make it difficult. Oh my god, he found 2, and it looks like they have managed to do it. Makalele is just going to retrieve the AWP and back away to put 6 on the board for Dignitas. It was no easy feat, and I find myself sighing a sigh of relief as AZ nearly got caught out there. Snatches the AWP.
Let's be honest, when Makalele's alive, I wouldn't go near those doors in mid. I'd avoid that like the plague. But Dignitas are keeping this in check. There was one round they've kind of dropped, but outside of that, staying focused. And looking at the CT side, I don't think they have a great deal of money. Of course, Makalele got away with the AWP. He's okay, he's set. Fox going in for a P250 as well. But outside of that, this should be a clean round, but it's not. Pimp goes down, and this is possibly a nail in the coffin here. If you want someone to tilt, that's a certain way to do it. But MSL with AZ, maybe try and keep this one back in Dignitas' hands.
Dignitas just struggling to catch a breath at this point. Kinguin not giving them the chance. That's a double flash then for the cross in towards B. Scream and Fox ready themselves. Scream has been influential every single time they push into B. He's going to try and do the same again, but it doesn't happen. Dignitas get a flurry of frags, and now just Dennis and Makalele have to prepare themselves for the retake. 4 Ts stand between them and the 15th round.
And Dignitas are digging deep. They are doing what is necessary here. They have to win this. They have to go big in every single round. It doesn't matter if they're against an eco. It doesn't matter when it's Kinguin. We've seen what these guys can do with just a pistol, just a deagle, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. These guys are so talented, and Dig have to be so careful, so cautious. My heart skipped a beat seeing Rain almost charge through that smoke as they were coming up towards B. But Dig got the round. They're keeping this one close to hand.
Now, MSL considered going for a hunt. I think that smoke's going to be enough to stop him, as keeping his weapons probably a bit more of a priority at this point. Dignitas, how's their economy looking? It's pretty cushy. They're okay. Kinguin, not so much. Should be able to pull it all together, though, just about. Looking at Rain, maybe going for the 5.7 instead. Yep, it's just going to be 2 rifles, an AWP and an AK, and then the double 5.7 deagle then. They have got armor, though, and they most definitely capable of doing something with this, but look at this.
Time. He's gone B, he's joined Scream and Fox, and they're actually going towards him. This could be dangerous. Dignitas have to be so careful. They've taken down Scream. They find Makalele. AZ walks in with Pimp and says, we're not done just yet, guys. We are keeping this one as close to hand as possible, as Dennis and Rain left in a dire situation.
Yeah, and they even planted for tunnel with a double stack in tunnels. This is a almost guaranteed round unless Dennis does the impossible. He starts to, as he finds MSL's head, and surely not going to find another one, as Rain with just a 5.7 casts his eyes towards A. And this is a decision time then for Kinguin. Flash is getting thrown out. They just want to delay the retake from the CTs, and I still have a horrible feeling the bottom of my stomach that Kinguin could make a dent in them here. Dennis gets another one. Time, though, is of the essence. I think they realise that they've done enough damage. It looks like Pimp could be able to clean up. He does find one. Spray down isn't good enough, and Kinguin making it so damn costly as Rain fires off a couple of celebration shots into the air. 14-8 then the score. And again, we find ourselves in a situation whereby there is nothing for Dignitas. 1 toe out of line, and this is Kinguin's game. Kinguin will have tickets to Cologne in August.
But we know Kinguin's CT side was not perfect in their previous game. Nico spotting one on the cross. Gets flashed out, really nice, but no one actually crossed there that time. And they're leaving Oh, I thought they're keeping Scream on A then, and they might just do that. This could actually work out in their favor. Rain's been called out, though. AZ made it towards Pit. He's going to do the damage. Makalele now has to back away. He can't hold that open angle, and actually, the T side of Dignitas doing some really impressive stuff early on.
Yeah, AZ like a man possessed all day, every day on this T side. Looking to do the same thing is MSL. He's been so good on Cobble. He's going to be doing the same thing on Dust2, though, as he finds Scream. 3 players remain. Makalele makes a big dent, and it's going to actually be a 3v3 thanks to Dennis and Makalele's work. It could be even worse, but Dennis doesn't quite connect through the smoke.
But Fox
does
is there.
though.
This is still on, and Dennis round the back gets 1 down, and now 1v2 Pimp can do this. Fox, 1 HP, Makalele, 18. They know where the bomb is. Surely they know, but Pimp has his options here. He can bring this one home. Fox has so little to work with, but Makalele's looking for this. He wants it now. He's not waiting around. Pimp's being careful. Fox on the rotate towards long. Pimp's options are running short. Fakes it, nervously looks. This would be match point. The shots come in, and Makalele picked it up. That was unreal. I thought that was Fox. I don't know where Makalele just pulled that out from, but beautifully played, and 15 rounds on the board now.
I think he just bounced a bullet off a skybox. That was ridiculous, as that's going to put 15 on the board for Kinguin, and this is starting to look like curtains for Dignitas. 15, just 1 round away, and a whole lot for Dignitas to take this into overtime. They have weapons, though, not so many nades, but we're going into this one with a belief that if anyone can do it, it's Dignitas.
You've got to say, until that round, the mistakes they made were player flaws. It shouldn't have happened that way. It shouldn't have gone down that way. And Scream and Dennis now boosting up towards mid. Scream makes it back. It's a little tagged up, but nothing to worry about. Pimp now with the bomb. Has to be careful as well. We know Kinguin like to go walkabouts in those B tunnels, but the smoke is in place. And now Dignitas, where can they forge this opening? Where is their chance here? Looks like they're building towards short a little. AZ looking for it. 1 minute left. They don't need to rush this, but they need to check everything. Makalele is playing close by long. He's kind of watching the corner of it all. There's Pimp just throwing the bomb around as he goes. Not quite at Cars, so holding almost a closer angle than that. And there's still Rain at long. Dennis not joining them this time. He's still down by CT. And Dignitas, if they commit here, they might just be able to do it unless Dennis falls back in time.
Yeah, it's all on the line for them, and I mean, Rain is holding long with a P90. You have to remember that, as it looks like Makalele is just holding steady on short.
27 seconds, they've got to go soon.
Here we go, the push is coming in, and Dennis is going to start as he means to go on. AZ now down, he has to watch from the sidelines as Makalele gets one. Dennis does it, and it looks like Kinguin have as well. It's all on to Pimp, 16-8, and Kinguin are going to the major. They've secured their spot just after their inception just a few months ago, and now Kinguin are going to be ready to take on the big dogs in August.
Phenomenal game from those boys. Their T side was astounding. Almost flawless against Dignitas, a team who beat them not too long ago during DreamHack. Now here in the ESL One Cologne European Qualifier, they have turned up, and you can see that man's face. He did so much work on the T side with those orbs, just second to none. But then you look towards Dignitas, and you've got to say they fought hard, but sadly, not hard enough.
Yeah, of course, they're not out of the running yet. That's going to throw them into the lower bracket, and I do not envy anyone who has to compete with Dignitas in that lower bracket. No. They are going to have so much more to fight for now. That loss, it wasn't necessary for sure, but that's going to be the kick up the backside Dignitas need to put them into that scary Dignitas. You know the Dignitas I'm talking about, the ones that feel like losing isn't an option, and it most definitely won't be in that lower bracket.
I just want Dignitas to make sure they recover from this. If they go down with their head down low, a team with nothing to lose could just run away with it. But still, this game is all about the boys on your screen there. Makalele, Scream, all of them had brilliant performances. And, you know, it's from start to finish, their games today have just blown my mind. What a phenomenal team.
Phenomenal team for sure. And I mean, the main question I have now is, where did Dignitas go? Because Kinguin have secured it. That is incredible. Yep. Kinguin, you know, are a new team. They're a team of such standout individuals. You know, you've basically got the best of the best from all across Europe chucked together and hoping things would work, and Dennis seems to have been that glue that has put these guys into a real good shape. And
there were so many questions about their communication. How will it work? Will that be their downfall eventually? Well, I think we're going to find out very soon. The major is the big test against the best in the world. Right now, right here, you'd argue they're probably the top 2 in this tournament, you'd say. Yeah. You know, from the qualifiers. But once they make it to the major, that's their test. That's where you'll see individual performance alone will not just take you through games. You have people like Fnatic just sitting there waiting. They've got JW, they've got Crims, they've got Olaf, one of the best players in the world, and then they've got, Pronax at the helm. It's like, there's your crazy combination. If Kinguin can replicate what they've done here, but then be able to make it happen against the big dogs, the bigger dogs, should I say, that's someone you've got to keep your eye on.
Yeah, and we mentioned the newest edition. It's time now for Jason to talk to Dennis about how things went down for him.
Thank you for that, Machine and Panza. And yes, I am joined by Dennis from Kinguin. Let's start off talking about the veto going into this, because the map was Dust2, and you could see that you clearly wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, we have practiced many maps, and we feel comfortable on Dust2. So yeah, we wanted to play Dust2.
And as coming as the in-game leader, how kind of overwhelming is that, if at all? You have a team of superstars behind you that you have to kind of work around and choose what they do.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. If I say, yeah, go do this, go do that, they do it, and they do it good. So no pressure on me.
And Michael, I talked to him before the event. He said you're more of a relaxed in-game leader. You're not about watching 50,000 demos and trying to see exactly what you want to do. How do you kind of prepare coming into this event?
I mean, if you watch demos, you prepare a lot for how the team plays, and they know you watch the demos, so they change their style. So there's no need for watching all the demos. You know how they play, their style. That's enough.
And now we have to kind of talk about this because, well, you're the in-game leader for the event. Some stuff happened recently. Do you think you'll continue to be the in-game leader past the major as well?
Perhaps, if I mean, it goes pretty well, so why not?
Okay, and I don't want to keep you here too long, so I'll ask you one more quick question. How are you going to prepare coming into the majors? Anything you're going to do differently? Like basically, what's coming up the next few weeks for you guys?
We're going to play a lot online, of course, and hopefully a boot camp. And yeah, just play and prepare for the event.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. Again, congratulations very much for qualifying for the major. You guys did a fantastic job, and I don't want to keep you here too much longer. Go celebrate with your team. Go get excited. Maybe have a couple drinks. Maybe one on me. Yeah. But guys, we're going to head to a short break. When we come back, it's going to be a rematch of what we had earlier. It's going to be Flipside up against Killerfish. Don't go anywhere.